Greetings. Welcome to the first true...
Good lord, it's dusty out here.
Well, it's a giant virtuoso ruins. That's why. Also, it's desert. Also, it's sand. Also, I kind of forgot to clean up around here. Welcome back, everybody, to Metroid Prime 1.
Also, there's a good chance this might be as disjointed as Galaxy.
Maybe.
It will not be that bad. But we just have to... I mean, as soon as Galaxy's done, then it won't be as disjointed.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, at least we're taking our time when Galaxy uploads. Metroid Prime, hell if I know.
Welcome back, everybody, to Metroid Prime, being played on the ever soon approaching death of the Wii U.
Yes.
Because apparently there's been a rumor now, as of this recording, that there's a chance that this is going to get some sort of either port up or eShop release on the Nintendo Switch.
Which honestly, given how Prime 4 is coming out, I think it's a pretty smart choice.
Although what I am bummed about is that it would pretty much be required to play this with the Joy-Cons and not with the...
What's wrong with using the...
I'm trying to talk and everyone's talking over me.
So sorry. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, as if the Wii U isn't already dead.
Yeah, they're getting there. Like it's trying to survive. Oh, oops, right this time.
Granted, they still got Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. They still got Wonderful 101,
3D World, Star Fox
the
Zero,
fact that but the fact that we're starting to get to a point where we can count how many games there are that's good for it left on two hands, one hand maybe.
That's
we're running short.
Maybe two if you dig really hard.
If you dig really hard, there's some like I want a new Pushmo game for the Switch.
Would be nice. And honestly, going back real quick, what's so wrong about the notion of playing this game through Joy-Cons?
Well, no, I just was bummed that I wouldn't really get to. I don't know. I like using my Pro controller. No, I like using my Pro controller. Just that
I feel like if there is going to be like a Switch version of the Prime trilogy, I think they'll have like both options available. Like you can either do normal control or you can have motion control.
That would
aside from Prime 3, though, they would have to make an exception there.
Right. Otherwise, they'd have to rebuild that from the ground up.
Yeah, because I was about to say, I'm pretty sure they'll make options, because that's one thing that I'll definitely give Nintendo. They're usually, for the most part, pretty good about giving you options for how you want to play the game.
Pretty much.
Also, if it looks like I'm being a little shaky here, that's because, again, this was actually... I have this thing where I like to just...
barnacles! Patrick, what did you eat?
No, it's just swamp gas. Also, crap, our missile tanks are being protected by this thingy. Also, I have this thing, James doesn't like it, but I have this habit of I like recording things just as I play them. Only if it's like a super hard game do I like to do like a practice run of it, just because I feel like it wastes time.
Well, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to do practice runs. I'm just...
I agree with you. Yeah. So for this game, I've beaten this game before. This is just you're watching technically my first recording. Not my first time playing it, but my first time like trying to go through this whole game with the Wiimote. And what that little cut was there is that was me realizing, this boss kind of drags a bit, so I'm just skipping ahead towards the end because it's really just the same phase over and over again. Number one, number two. I made a horrible mistake of making the fire button be the B trigger because I cannot keep pushing that B trigger on the Wiimote that fast. It's so much easier with my thumb on the A button.
Mm-hmm. It might be easier if you had a super scope or whatever that accessory was called.
The what was it called, Celia? The thing that was used for like
the zapper
crossbow training. A zapper.
Yeah, the Wii Zapper.
Actually, no. I think the zapper would be really good for this game.
I think this game. I want to say the trilogy.
Nice.
No, the overall trilogy I think was made after the Zapper was a thing, though I think Prime 3 not so much.
But I think this could be designed well for the Zapper.
Maybe. Well, not that it matters. Not that it matters now because the Switch doesn't have a Zapper.
Nope. I'm sure if past knowledge has proven me right, there's going to be some company making some knockoff Switch Joy-Con like attachments. There already are. There's already a couple of them, and I bought two of them because I'm a dummy.
Maybe you could use Labo to make it.
That's also true.
Yeah.
You can make Toy-Cons. All right, there's our first E-tank. Energy tank.
I don't know why that's such a cute word.
And once you finish using the Toy-Con, once you finish using the Toy-Cons to make your Zapper, you can bring that Toy-Con into Smash.
Oh dear God.
I would love if there ends up being a Toy-Con Rob skin.
Honestly,
so
I can
cute.
just imagine it now. Having to play Smash Ultimate with the fucking robot.
You know, that reminds
that
me
could-
of.
that'd be kinda
You say that as a
interesting.
skin for Rob, but it reminds me of
doesn't
this one Wii U thing for Smash Wii U where they have like skin mods for Rob, and one of them replaces his head with a Virtual Boy.
Oh,
And
you
he's playing
I
Mario
can see
Tennis.
that.
good old whatever that pack name was called.
Excuse me.
Aha. So if you look now, there's a whole thing like if you look in your pause menu, you can look up your different weapons and stuff, and in particular in the weapons, you can learn what materials they're weak to, or they're strong against, I should say. So missiles are great for breaking through, I believe, brimstone. However, sandstone, we need a different weapon. We need bombs.
And where are we gonna get those bombs, Logan?
Oh, up ahead. Spoilers, but this game is like 2 decades old. Not 2 decades, like a decade and a half.
It's starting to get there.
It's close to 2 decades, and that's what makes me feel old.
Like,
So let's see.
just for reference sake, what year did the original pop out?
Let me look up real quick.
2002.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's starting to in about 4 years it'll be 20.
Jeez. Yeah, it's definitely over 15. So yeah, we just gotta kill these guys. So so from
Also, those
correct,
annoying little
it's-
buggers from Prime Pinball.
Yeah. Let's see. So it's I think power bombs are good against Bendesium, where that's charge beam. Like you have to learn all of these different like missile types or these different like material types, and you can scan them and.
Truth be told, though, I think that's also part of the reason why I'm more inclined toward the 2D Metroids than Metroid Prime, because it's honestly something I also feel for the likes of A Link to the Past / A Link Between Worlds compared to, say, Ocarina of Time. When put into full 3D, they get a little overboard when it comes to like the details on what you're supposed to do, and it does kind of make the thing feel a little more. I don't want to say it's a drag, but it's just.
There we go.
Oh. Well,
It's very much a cult classic series.
it's. I think what I'm trying to say here, games like these are less of like just playing a game for the sake of playing a game, and are more like an investment. Assuming you don't know how to all the tricks of the trade.
And bam, we have acquired the morph ball. I lied. The bombs aren't until later. I just remembered. But we got morph ball.
That's something. And the question shall forever loom: how Samus ever gets inside that thing?
Well, here it looks like. In this one, it almost kind of like, if you notice carefully for the transformation, it almost looks more. Well, when you're coming out of it, less so. But when you're going into it, it almost looks like a fade in, like you're, almost like you're like
Slowly
transforming into it.
It's like you're sort of forming into this transparent energy, and then it just all gets encapsulated in those two. Well, paths of the ball.
Kind of.
You
I mean,
know
that
what?
it explained that, like the shine spark from
Which-
Super Metroid, you become this weird energy source.
Which reminds me, do you ever find that one pirate log talking about how they try to reverse engineer it?
I don't know if I do, but please say what it is again.
Okay, so long story
I'll just say real quick. I'll just say as a disclaimer, I'm not caring too much about finding all of the lore and all of the Chozo stuff. If you want to like see that, I have a Let's Play on my channel where I go far more into looking up and finding all the lore pieces. Here, I'm just going for completion.
Yeah, plug. I'll go ahead and leave the plug right here. Anyway, there is one pirate log you can find later on where you learn that basically the space pirates have been trying to reverse engineer all of Samus's weaponry, including the morph ball, and apparently whenever they try to test out the capabilities of the morph ball, all their test subjects become horribly mangled.
Well, that's pretty fair. I imagine it's like that one part of Iron Man 2 where that dude had his spine snapped and like
Yeah, because he was
reversed around.
trying to test out the repulsor. They didn't take into account the recoil.
Ouch.
Or the beginning, or actually possibly Iron Man 2 is referencing that. It also is kind of like the introduction to RoboCop 2, where all those failures did not work at all.
Although that does, just going back to Metroid real quick, I know it's been talked about for years and we're probably never going to get it. If they ever do give us like a Metroid movie, whether it be live action or animated, I'm really curious to see how exactly that would look outside of a video game, just the notion of Samus going to a morph ball.
I'm just going to say this outright. I think Metroid is one of those few franchises where I think they could get away with a live-action movie, but they would have... But, much like Detective Pikachu before, just keep it relegated to its own universe.
I feel, yeah, I can see that. But
Honestly, I
say-
don't really see... You say that, but really, I think it kind of has no choice but to be in its own universe.
Maybe.
But
Yeah.
I feel, and also in terms of how Samus would get into her suit, I'm assuming like if they did it, it would be live action with the suit clearly being CG, including everything she does. It'd be Iron Man basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming she just would curl up in like something, but I don't know. I think the way that like she, again, you don't really see it when she like rolls into it, but better when she rolls out of it. I think the like transforming like way that she moves around out of morph ball is all right. I don't know. I especially love the whole like run and gun aspect of it. Like sometimes if you're moving fast enough and you get out of morph ball, she literally gets out of it and she's still running with her momentum.
That being said, I mean, I know this is sort of a stigma with the industry, but I mean, if there ever is a Metroid movie, I don't think they should be afraid to like go for the more atmospheric approach as opposed to story driven. If that makes any sense.
I think.
The,
I was
Yeah.
about to say, honestly, I wouldn't mind the story approach, but only if it's over something that I don't think's really been tapped on too much. Like, for example, I think the whole time frame of her being raised by the Chozo, I think would be interesting, partly because, honestly, we never really see for ourselves, the extensiveness of her time with the Chozo.
I mean, honestly, for better or worse, you could try making like I know this is sort of something you never see anymore, but maybe try a pseudo-silent movie.
Maybe like Samurai Jack did a lot of that. And
Yeah, like Samurai Jack, or well, okay, I guess this isn't entirely the case. Go the Shadow of the Colossus approach.
As
maybe.
far as movies go, I've been told that George Miller's pretty good about the whole, using action outward thing.
Well, then hire him or whatever.
Apparently, oh jeez, yeah.
Ow!
Until we destroy a certain evil thing, all the water here is poison. It sucks.
Yes.
Ugh.
I could see it. I don't know about you, Celia. I could see it almost working like the Wonder Woman movie, kind of, just with less dialogue.
Like the what movie?
Yeah, I get
Wonder
yeah,
Woman.
I agree.
Oh. That would be interesting.
Where is it? But then I don't know. Like, what kind of like? Okay, I need to find two more. But like, what kind of scenario would you have it be? Would you just have it be the old like Samus like fighting the
Well, like I
space
said,
pirates or fighting Metroids? Because that's the thing is like Metroids. I don't remember when Metroids were first ever introduced to her. Was it the first Metroid 1? Had she fought them before?
It was
then?
Metroid 1 or Zero,
So-
or as far as we're concerned, Zero Mission.
So the issue with that is that, like, normally if you had to do a big, like, intro starting movie to this, you'd have to show her growing and, like, struggling at first. But by Zero Mission, she's pretty much, like, got everything down pat. It's up to the player to figure things out. But in terms of her character, she's pretty much unfazed by all of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like what
Zero
I was
Mission.
saying. Like, I think if you're going to make a movie, I think a good place to start would be with her, with the Chozo, them raising her, and them showing off. Because I might be wrong, but weren't the Chozo also technically responsible for the creation of the Metroids?
I believe so. Like, they were saying that they created or something that they were studying. I know it was definitely technically the Chozo. By the way, we just got ourselves a charge beam.
Hooray!
I know it was technically the Chozo that created the suit.
They pretty much created everything that Samus uses.
And that's
Yeah.
why no one else can quite do it.
So yeah, that's basically what I was saying. Like, if for the movie, like, have it be like, for at least a good half of it, show like her growing up with the Chozo, and you get to learn more of their, world and whatnot. Then
I'm not
eventually,
Truth be told, I'm not entirely sure if that should be the approach they go with, because then I just think it'd be a little heavy-handed.
Well, you didn't let me finish.
Sorry, go ahead then.
Well, I was about to say the first half would be kind of like that, but then eventually near the middle, that's where you have the whole thing about the space pirates coming in, killing her parents and whatnot, and then that would transition to the second half of the film, which would basically just be a sort of adaptation of the first game.
honestly, Hype, I think you could just sum up everything about the Chozo and her origin to like the first third,
I can see that.
and let everything else just be Metroid 1.
Probably.
Hey, Sammy, I got this new script idea I want to run by you.
Hot.
I call it Space Princess Ridley. Saves the
Oh
world.
my god. Now I just...
Yeah.
Dude, now I'm sorry, real quick. Now for some reason I just suddenly have the image of Ridley if he was dressed up like Calhoun from the Wreck-It Ralph movies.
Oh,
Just up as who again?
Calhoun, the serious one, voiced by Jane Lynch, I think.
Oh,
Was her name Jane
Oh
Lynch?
yeah.
Yeah, it's Jane Lynch.
She's like one of my favorite characters, which, by the way, spoilers, that's why I've heard sort of things about Wreck-It Ralph 2, is apparently neither her nor Fix-It Felix really come, like, back in full swing in that movie.
Well, to be fair, it's not really their move. It's not really their story.
But, like, I would have liked to see that, like, where that romance was progressing, if there was going to be some new, like, complication or some weird, like, thing or, like, development.
Well, that's kind of a huge slap in the face.
Why?
Well, again, that wasn't really the big focus of the first film anyway.
Well, yeah, but still.
They were a good supporting cast, and anyway, okay.
Oh, what an adorable little whatchamacallit.
Hello there, Mr. Stone Toad,
Oh,
aptly
yeah.
named. Praise on creatures small than
Just so you know, I have a bit of obsession with anything shaped like a ball. So,
If not just that, it's like, I love the description of its appetite. Like, how are you? Oh, you know, just craving, just, you know, things. What kind of things? You know, anything smaller than me that happens to be in front of me at this exact moment.
basically,
No.
they're simple-minded creatures, but
Right,
goddamn, are
that's
they
the boss.
voracious? At least they don't kill.
Yeah, the pacing is a little bit tricky in this game. Where like, there's gonna be a lot of bosses and a lot of fights up like immediately, like at just because they have to give me all my equipment, and then probably after I clear off this area, suddenly the amount of enemies I have to fight severely drops, and it becomes more about, you know, Metroidvania.
I mean, I guess I guess in a way that is fair, though. I guess at the same time, you could also just maybe change up the formula bits and have the abilities you can grab, like, not just be something you get after beating a boss.
That would have been nice.
Like maybe just for the sake of a platforming challenge or something. I mean, kind of like we already did with the chart shot.
There are some challenges. There are some equipment you get from, you know, making it through particular rooms or being challenges.
Also, what a dickheaded bit of machinery here. You basically hit at its course, and all of a sudden it aims up directly at that wasp hive.
And the wasp was just like, "Whoa,
Oh.
whoa, why were we in this
Also, I
fight?
wasn't-
What the fuck, man?
We were
Okay, so
keeping
I'm-
ourselves."
Okay, so I'm not seeing things.
Let's
There
hear
are-
you like it, and just starts to sting her.
Okay, so I'm not seeing things. There are hornets here.
Yeah, no, they're up in that nest. I keep torching their place, and they're just like, "Dude,
Do you mind?
go ahead, John. What's up?"
No, just clearing my throat. Still have
Oh,
a.
I thought that was. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I still
Well, to
have.
be fair,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to be fair, we haven't really been doing a good job of giving him room to talk. So
Not bad.
But yeah, I actually remember this room pretty well.
Hey, there we go.
So wait a minute. Was the boss fight with that fire spewer, or was it with the wasp hive?
It said incinerator drone, so I'm assuming it was against that, and it blew up. So ultimately, I just feel like the hives were just victims of circumstance. They just
Fair
happened
enough.
to be there, and there we are, bombs.
Yay!
Celia, is there a boss fight that you like? If you fight it, you feel bad for fighting it?
I can't think of one off the top of my head at the moment.
Anything from Zelda in
Oh,
particular?
actually, I can't think of one. Blizzetta.
Yeah, that is true. She didn't mean to be evil.
Wait,
She
who?
survives in the end. Twilight Princess.
Oh, okay.
well, I
The
guess
Yeti.
I do want to ask because while there's still room to talk. John, do you have any thoughts on the whole Metroid movie conversation that we were having earlier?
I can definitely see it work. I mean, like, a lot of the things that I can see working is just being very general about story writing. Is you don't want to make a.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Die. Thank you.
Bye bye. You don't want to make a movie that's what's it called? You don't want to have a movie that has too much going on, or otherwise the audience is going to be very confused and/or disoriented really quick. See Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Ba-da-da.
And actually, you do bring up another point, is that you'd also have to be careful. You don't want to include too much that only people who played the game would understand it, because then you've kind of alienated or left other people kind of confused as to what's going on.
AKA Ratchet.
Oh, hello.
Hi,
This
Samus.
speaking of someone that actually likes that movie.
I keep forgetting that happens. Like if you accidentally shoot too close to a wall, you do see a quick visual of Samus inside the helmet.
Right, the light reflecting, which I thought that was really cool for the time this came out.
It was cool, but at the same time, it can be unsettling at the worst possible times.
To see her eyes.
Like imagine playing Metroid Prime like as if you were playing like say a horror game.
I also thought
Lights off, midnight, just
And I also
shooting
thought it
on
was-
the wall, like. Ah!
I also thought that later on it's there are some especially when you're underwater that you see it a lot often there because of missiles and it can be with the music it can be actually kind of creepy. More on that later.
Yep.
Oh,
Actually, since you mentioned that real quick, that does make me curious. Like, it does make me curious. If they're too lazy to come up with like a new IP just for the genre, how would you guys feel about them using Metroid as kind of like a gateway into the horror genre?
they pretty much did that. Not saying like I'm correcting it. Like they pretty much can't do
They
that.
kind of did that. It's
They-
called Metroid Fusion.
I was gonna say
Well, I
they
just mean, like,
they
more
pretty much
full
almost
scale
got
as
to
opposed to
Like
Yeah,
if it were full scale, like then I mean it would be. I think for a franchise like this, it would be completely appropriate.
Dude, the setup for when you're fighting Nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the scenes of him, the fact that your system is pretty much just telling you run.
Yep.
It's really and freaking SAX. It's really I think because bear in mind this was based off of Alien, one of the most like quintessential like sci-fi horror movies.
Except for the third one.
Except for the third one.
Yeah.
At least I think it was the
Anyway.
third one.
Anyway, I'm getting tired of all this poison water everywhere, so we're gonna see if we can tend to that in the next part.
Mm-hmm.
Till next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye for now.
I hear it's worse in Lake Dreary.